Whatever you think about Star Trek Picard Season 3, the first episode, you got to admit that alien ship design is deadly. The one at the end. Man, that looks so cool. So what are people saying about it? Let's have a look. Star Trek Picard. User score. Wow, it is mixed, isn't it? The critic score is pretty high. User is mixed. The cringe is back, as strong as ever. Awful writing, terrible plot, half-hearted performances. Really? Let's have a look. Let's share the screen if I can. Let's go into them all. User scores. Come on. Latest by date. Okay, someone's giving it a 1. I'll give it a 1. It's a dark, nasty, perverse Kurtzman trek. Dim lighting, dour, and opens with Beverly Crusher vaporizing people with a rifle. Not very Dr. Crusher-like. And then one below it says, a new beginning for the series in its likely final season. I've only seen the first episode so far and it looks promising. They've given it a 9. Promising 9. That's almost perfect. There are some plot holes, but somewhat smaller ones in the nonsense that made me stop watching Discovery. Too many plot-serving coincidences, but otherwise a very solid episode. And then the following one says, 10 out of 10. Perfect score. Wow. Created by people who love Star Trek. Acted by a bunch of people who love working together. This is the swan song that Starfleet's greatest commanding officer and his crew truly deserves. And the one after that gives it a 3. It's the Velma of sci-fi shows. Again, I'm seeing professional reviewers giving this objectively bad show a perfect score. Half the time I'm watching the series, I'm torn between the ideas of the show writers never watched Star Trek before and the show writers watch Star Trek and want to disrespect it as much as possible. This is yet another season of the show, ham-fisting, poorly constructed, 2023 political messages in Star Trek. A show that takes place in a time when none of that should exist. I don't mind if a show can artfully add a modern political message in the plot. Picard just does it in a cringy, simple way that makes this show feel like its animated counterpart Velma. Wow, this man or woman really likes Velma. They've compared it to it twice now. Mamma mia. Just go down to the end. Hats off to the original TNG actors and actresses who did a fantastic job despite the terrible writing. Ignore these positive reviews from professionals who most likely got paid. An unfortunate reality in 2023. This show is still terrible and a slap in the face to anyone who liked the good Trek, good Star Trek. Let's get an average one. Here's an average review. 6 out of 10. I would have given it a higher score, but I'm gun shy. Last season started out with a good episode out of the gate, and look what happened. Wokesville. Hated it and never finished the season. This episode was fun. Reminded me of one of the Star Trek The Next Generation movies near the end. Great production values, and it's nice to see some old faces. We will see. Okay, that's a quick scan of the latest user reviews. Let me go back to critic reviews. The Telegraph, 80 out of 100. It's wonderful. It's also officially the end. Trekkies will be overjoyed and then devastated. The fun is over almost as soon as it's begun. The Decider says 80. Cinematic, emotional, actionably nostalgic. The third season of Star Trek Picard feels like the truest representation of what returning Patrick Stewart and the TNG era was supposed to be for. Okay, let me skip down to 70 from Rolling Stone. The new episodes do not qualify as great. Okay, episodes plural. I think they've got 3 or 4, haven't they, where we've got to wait weekly. Having said that, these new episodes are still a vast, vast improvement over what Picard had done before. The TNG cast has remained close over the decades, and their chemistry from the 80s and the 90s still works. Oh, let's see what Empire says. I used to read Empire years ago in the magazine format, in the physical format. It used to be a good movie review magazine, but from these days I just see like many, many, many positive reviews. Empire says, a bravura send-off for Jean-Luc and the gang that gratifyingly recaptures the feeling of Star Trek at its 90s peak. It's just a shame it took 3 seasons to get here. Okay, let's have a look for a negative one. Oh, there aren't any. That's the lowest. The lowest one is a 70 from Rolling Stone, and then there's a 73 from TV Guide. They say, it's a compelling adventure so far, but it also feels like a movie-sized adventure, stretched a bit thin by the need to fill 10 episodes. Still, it gets the important things right, staying true to cherished characters and making it a pleasure to see them together again. Okay, there we go. So, big divide between the critics and the users as usual. Not as bad as some things, but As you can see, the overall is 82 from only 12 critic reviews, and a user score of 6 based on only 9 ratings. Only been 9. Okay, interesting. There's a 7 here from someone called Dabbler. This is the last one I'll read. I hoped for something good and got something a little better than good so far. For the first time in a long time, I feel like Star Trek is back. Hope they keep it up. And then, okay, I read that one, the 6th one. So 3, 0, 6, 7, 10, 9 and a 1. All over the place. Crazy. Okay, that's it. That's my brief report from the very first few reviews coming out for Star Trek. Don't forget the critics have had more than the 1 episode. The users just had the 1 as far as I know. So this is Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House, signing off for now. Hope to see you in a future video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Mata ne.